obviously had never been in that situation before, calling postseason games, let alone World Series games and potential World Series clinchers. So everything was going through my head as we entered the ninth inning. Obviously had to be preparing for all sort of scenarios, how to handle it if it didn't work out. Walker coming out of the bullpen, it was, now in hindsight, it's going to be one of the most epic memories for every Dodger fan. But in the moment, it was awesome, but it was like, how is this going to play out? And so just trying to think in my head, again, all this is happening at lightning speed, trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to handle it if things get off the rails here? And then also sort of balance the other side, well, if things go right here, then the game is over and the World Series is over. And so the only thing I remember thinking, when I'm doing radio games, I really just try to lock in on the play. It's a little different with TV, but radio you have to describe the action for everybody watching. So couldn't really come up with like this concocted call, because you had to call the play, and it happened to be a strikeout, and so it was like whatever the play is, I follow it. And so it was strike three swinging, and the whole thing that we were talking about as Dodger Nation throughout that postseason, really from the time they came back against the Padres in the division series, was the job's not finished. So that was the one thing kind of ringing around in my head. Now they just finished the job. A lot of times after a win, I'll say that's a win for LA, and so that's a World Series win for LA. So that's sort of the if I could go back to that moment and try to describe what I was thinking, those are the basic, the cliff notes. And what funny story if we have time for it. So the Dodgers had set up a GoPro in our booth for Game 4. Now, obviously, Game 4, they lost. So we come back in Game 5 and set it up there just in case they want to capture the final out. They go down 5-0, and I text Eric Vasquez in Dodgers Productions. I said, get this out of here. I don't want this GoPro anymore. By the time I turned it off and I gave it to Dwayne McDonald, the radio producer, it was the top of the 5th inning. And then they came back, tie the game. Obviously, they take the lead. And then in the 8th, it was like, oh, they might win this. So I text Eric, like, hey, what do you want to do with the GoPro? And he's like, you need to set it up yourself. Okay, got it, set it up, put it where he had it. 9th inning starts. I press record. Plays out, finish the game, stop it. Eric comes back to pick it up. I'm on the bus heading to the airport to come home to LA, and Eric texts me, he's like, dude, you recorded in stop motion. Because the GoPro, which is a terrible setting. GoPro, if I ever see one of yous, we're fighting, because that is a factory defect. I pressed record, but apparently if you hold it a fraction of a second too long, it goes into stop motion. So now that footage, which I have, is just me, it's not usable, but maybe one day I will post it just for the laughs, because that was a great memory, obviously. Dodgers won the World Series. So I have been told, I've been informed by several passionate parties, all of whom I love and respect as Dodger fans, that I am the one to blame for Yoshinobu Yamamoto not no-hitting the Arizona Diamondbacks here at Dodger Stadium. And to anybody who does subscribe to that, I respectfully say, you're wrong. And if you want to argue with me, and if you want to call me garbage, and you want to call me names and say I'm the one at fault, that's fine. I can take it, but just know that you're also, in a way, also saying the same thing to Mr. Vin Scully. And I know I don't think you Dodger fans want to do that, because while I may not be able to fill those shoes ever, I know that, can't follow those footsteps, I can follow his lead when it comes to no-hitters. And he called more than a dozen of them. Perfect games in there as well. If you go back and listen to any of them, he mentions several times, dozens of times, what is happening, because that's our job as the broadcaster, is to tell the people at home what is going on the field. And we all know sometimes we don't start the game or watch the game from the very start, and we pick it up midway through, so you look at the scoreboard and see that it's 1-0, but you don't know that something special is going on. So it's incumbent on us to, as broadcasters, to say more than there's something special going on. Well, what's the special thing? I don't know. I just sat down. We finished dinner with my kids and my family. What's something special going on? Do I need to like pull out my phone and research what it is? No, the broadcaster's job is to tell them. So just doing my job, 1, just following Mr. Scully's lead, 2. If that's not good enough for you, if those 2 reasons aren't good enough for you, number 3, you might want to think about Yamamoto's pitch count and where it was. I don't know about you. I don't really get jazzed up for combined no-hitters. So, felt a little bit safer there. 4, I had said it in previous innings. I think I said it in the 4th and the 5th was happening, and then he struck out the side in the 6th. Was that my fault too? My fault too? Also, a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, 5 2/3 no-hit innings. Now, I had a great interaction with a fan, very friendly, who was upset about something similar. So I basically said I'll humor him next time. So no-hitters in progress in Atlanta, and I'm doing the alternate words thing. So I'm saying it's a no-hitter without saying it's a no-hitter. But then Austin Riley doubled, so that didn't work either. It's almost as if broadcasters have no bearing on the game. But I get it. Again, baseball fans are passionate. Baseball is a superstitious sport. What happens down in the dugout and between the white lines, that's different. It's up. If the teammates don't want to talk to Yama or a pitcher who's throwing a no-no, that's one thing. But for broadcasters, our responsibilities are the opposite.